So we are at the Living Memorial Sculpture Garden, and there are these amazing. This is a woman with empty arms because her baby went off to war. Um, there we are cruising in our van, me and my wife, my beautiful wife Victoria, and It's just appropriate that we're right here right now. We just did our suicide prevention show for 2,500 people from the Department of Defense and the Veterans Administration. And it was, the comics were awesome. We had Jason Ressler, who served in the Navy, and Ellis Rodriguez, who was a Marine, because you're always a Marine. Whoa, whoa. And Becky Lynn, and Jason had never been on one of our shows. And I was just telling my wife, one of my moments after the event was we were out at dinner, and Jason comes up to me and he goes, I'm still a good soldier, because he helped people and people were coming up. I wish I would have had a clicker to count how many people came up with tears in their eyes. We sat after our presentation the first day, we were 9.5 hours in line for people to come and talk to us, and it was tears and hugs and thank yous for what you do. It was just absolutely overwhelming and phenomenal. This is one of the other pieces of artwork.
You gotta see this.
I know, it's so cool. I'm trying to tilt it here.
I think there's a dozen so far.
Yeah, there's about a dozen of these here at this place.
This is my favorite.
Yeah. So we had 9 hours the first day of just a line of people, and then the second day we were there from 9 o'clock in the morning till 6:30 at night. What is that? 12-hour day, something like
12
that.
12 and a half, yeah.
And it was just...
We did take a break for 20 minutes to eat that burger. But...
We did. But even then, people were coming up to us while we were eating and just saying, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm going to, because I got to say thank you. And so it was overwhelming. We had a standing ovation, and a couple of the moments, Andrew Moon, who's one of the directors in charge of stuff, he came running up. He goes, first of all, crushed it. And he says, these are not people who give standing ovations, just so you know. This is a phenomenon. And then the director of DISPO, the Defense Suicide Prevention Office, Liz Clark, Dr. Clark, she came up and she gave me a coin, one of her coins. And she hugs me and she says, we had people from the White House here today that saw this, and we're going to talk, and we're going to get you in front of more people.
And her hug wasn't like a pat. It
no,
was a full-on
she grabbed
embrace.
and just,
Oh, and she hugged me too. It was just one of those warm, loving...
So those were just, man, a couple of the highlights. There were so many things. Victoria got to talk to Matt. He introduced himself. He goes, I heard you guys have had some moments here. She saw he was one of the speakers before we went up there. She didn't really know who he was, and she told him some of the moments and people and tears, and a gentleman who came up and leaned in quietly so no one would hear. He said, I called today and I got help for myself. So she tells him that story, and how the guy, she goes, go tell Jason that he influenced you, and seeing Jason crying, and so she's telling him, she goes, oh, just look behind you, right there. There's a moment right there, and there was a lady talking to Jason, sobbing and giving him a hug, and then he goes, well, what can I do for you guys? She goes, can you send us a letter? Just, hey, this was great, an endorsement, and he goes, I could do that. He goes, but let me do this. That's better. He goes, let me post this on my LinkedIn account where thousands of people will see it. And then you can copy that and share it wherever you want. And she goes, great. And so he gives her his card, and it's Dr. Matt Miller, the Director of Veteran Affairs. Kind of a big deal. So it was just,
I started stuttering and losing. I couldn't focus. He probably thought I was an idiot. Like, wow, lady, but
yeah,
it doesn't matter. He was very loving and kind, and they did take a chance and a risk on us, and they don't regret it.
That's one thing she said when he walked up. She goes, thanks for taking a chance. He goes, it was a chance. It was a risk. Yeah. But it was perfect. It was so amazing. And
some good friends.
Made connections. We had a lady approach us. She goes, I'm in charge of suicide prevention for the Department of the Navy. And
this was your encounter.
Yeah, my encounter. She goes, would you guys go out on the battleships? Would you guys go out on the aircraft carriers and do this? And Ellis is behind me. I go, Ellis, would you go out on an aircraft carrier? Woo, yes. And so we got we've already booked gigs from it. And nobody's even got back to work yet. They're all traveling now. It's Friday. We did our show on Tuesday.
Oh, it was 3 shows we booked, not 4.
Yeah,
but
we've got inquiries from everywhere, from Germany, Hawaii, South Carolina, North Carolina,
Kentucky.
Bunch of Florida. We're going to be in Louisville, Kentucky. We booked.
Minnesota.
We're doing a suicide prevention conference in Coronado for the Navy. We've had it's Colorado Springs, all of the ones that So next week we'll start getting, on Monday when people get back in the office, more and more details.
We even had some people from the event that went to our site and looked us up, and then must have watched a couple of our YouTubes. They joined our Brett Toria
Yeah, they're
journey.
Following us on Facebook. And,
they're on our journey page too now.
So that was the gig that we've always, since we started doing this. It's like, if we could just get in front of the military, if we could just get an audience, and it was a fluke. Well, it was God, but we didn't get accepted to present there. At first, and I contacted Andrew Moon with
After
with
talking
Despo.
to him for a year.
After talking to him for a year, and he said, we'll figure out a way to get you in there. And so he said, here's what we've come up with. We're going to have you at 5:30 on Tuesday, 5:30 at Wednesday. So the conference ends at 5 every day. So after meetings all day long and tired and exhaustion, we would have to try and get people to stay and come and see us. And so we about a week and a half before the event, he says, hey, we had a keynote cancel. Can you guys present in front of the 2,500 people in the big room? And we're like, oh, hell yes. And so it's Friday. We did our thing on Tuesday. I'm just getting my voice
sound
back.
better today.
And it was just from, I don't know how many hours we were, 2 days, just constant, just thank you, just so many thank yous and talking. And we brought a card box with business cards. It was probably about 18 inches, this big long box of our 5 question cards, gone and within the first couple of hours. So many people said, these 5 questions are our staff training next week.
Yes.
We're using this for our staff training. Our people are going to use these 5 questions in their therapy sessions, when they talk to veterans, when they talk to people who are struggling. So it was, and there was a Dr. Bonner there. Dr. Ted Bonner, Bonar, same spelling. We sat and talked for 20 minutes about all the jokes about our name that I won't share here. So I can mark this down as kid friendly.
It's got to be related.
Yeah, it was awesome. And he's connected in a whole nother group with psychology conferences. And he goes, he goes, I know you're not in those circles because I would have heard of this. This was just absolutely brilliant. He says it's one of the best lived experience presentations I ever heard. So that was, this video's running long. It's like almost 8 minutes now. But we're just overwhelmed, and my heart wants to burst.
Thankful.
The comics crushed it. It was just an amazing experience, and
I
just
told
blew
Jason
open so
when
many
he
doors.
first got there, I hadn't met him yet,
Yeah.
and I just don't want to forget this part. I run up to him and I hug him. I'm like, "Hi, I'm Victoria," and I'm giving him a hug, and I go, "Hey, you ready to change your life today? Are you ready to save a life today?"
And he was like, "Yeah, whatever. We'll see.
And then I wish I would have got the standing ovation and us walking.
Standing ovation, 2,500 people.
Us walking out of the conference, because it was standing ovation. People, in
and
fact,
just hands reaching out to
shake their hands.
Yeah.
But there was I forgot her name that went back up on the stage. She goes,
"Oh yeah."
She goes, I'm pretty sure I don't have authority to do this, but I think we can all go home now.
I think we got what
It
we
was day
needed
one.
from the conference. We could all go home.
And then we're walking out, and my phone was dead. I'm bummed, but I turned around and I was watching the 4 comics walking out as people were applauding them, and I just saw tears coming down faces.
Yeah.
And it was just this moment, like,
I love making people cry.
God will take your struggles and your challenges and turn them around to help others, and that's
that night at dinner. Victoria, she goes, "See, I told you it would change people's lives today." He goes, "I didn't know," and he's sobbing again, and it was just
that
beautiful.
one story about that guy who said, I made a call for myself, and I told him, I said, go tell him. And I was talking about Brett. I go over there and tell him, because they need to hear this. They need to hear that their words and their sharing impacted. And then he goes, no, it wasn't him, it was him.
It was Jason.
And I go, oh, you gotta go tell him. And so I'm watching him walk over to Jason. I could see Jason's face. I can't see the man's face because his back is to me, but I see Jason just, and his face like turns white, and he's in awe of this moment of this gentleman that's in leadership coming up and shaking his hand and saying thank you with genuine
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was incredible.
We're overwhelmed. It was an amazing conference. So
yeah, super thankful. Thank you.